Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here in Las Vegas, and I've actually come to meet Keven from MachineMax for a very special podcast edition here from Las Vegas. Keven, great to meet you. I've discovered so much at the show already here in Vegas, and what I wanted to do is come and chat to you and really understand how the market is working here, how they're embracing technology through MachineMax, but also just to understand the things that are happening in the marketplace and how the industry is moving forward in America, because it's very different the way we work in the UK to the way things work here. So first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. You are the head of the MachineMax over here in the States, aren't you?
Yep. So my name is Keven Jin. I'm the head of North America for MachineMax. We're very excited to participate in the marketplace here. Lots of challenges, a lot of players, and tell you what, there's so many solutions out there, and we are one of those that really makes a difference for the operators here in the US.
And I think what's really important we've discovered here is the way that technology's accelerated from the adoption over the last few years, particularly when we look at what the post-pandemic and after the pandemic. What's happened here with MachineMax and when you've entered the market, and how is that going? Because you're working across quite a few different sectors, aren't you?
Yep. So one of the things that we look at for the operators here really is centered around utilization and the visibility of their fleet to best optimize their productivity, right?
Yeah.
A lot of challenges that our operator sees are typically around CO2 emissions, fuel usage, and centered around resourcing. So our platform really tackles that challenge, gives them the visibility to be able to make decisions, the correct decisions at the right time.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the different sectors that you're working in and the impact that has been made on those sectors. First of all, we haven't got mining in the UK anymore, but the mining sector's huge here. And I know you've actually been working with a mining company that's adopted the MachineMax platform. Tell me a little bit about them pre the adoption and what they've been doing since.
Yep, so very typical, this company, CMAX, their challenge in the US has been how do they gain visibility of their OEM fleet? Yep. Multiple different OEMs, various age, various different models, and they have challenge to understand their productivity and utilization. So we were able to go in, connect our fleet from Caterpillar, from John Deere, from Komatsu, all into one platform and able to provide a decision of how that fleet is being utilized, how much of a carbon footprint and fuel savings they're able to do by reducing idling for their fleets.
So when you look at the whole fleet match with different OEMs, it is really quite interesting to see what machines are performing better in certain different experiences with say, the off-highway trucks or the shovels and things like that, and how one operator and another operator is using those machines as well. Because every drop in mining is a very big drop of saving, isn't it?
That's absolutely. So even from a standpoint of productivity, what we see is operators are utilizing different machines differently in different sites, right? Those are one of the challenges, and different projects. Every project is unique. So what we're able to do is become that solution integrator to able to integrate multiple different platforms. Because we are agnostic to their hardware devices, we're able to connect any different devices into the platform and show them insight, whether their persona is a fleet manager or an operator or even to a maintenance manager, right?
So I want to start there at the operators, because I always see the operators are the brains inside the machine, and they are critical to achieving the productivity, but also critical to looking after the equipment as well. And so when you brought in the system with the MachineMax before they're actually doing something different, they've now got MachineMax and data. How has that helped them talk to the operators, and how does that help them gel together more as a team in that mining environment?
So what we are able to provide to the operators is lots of insightful data. And this enables a communication that hasn't happened before. Right? What we've seen is the environment created a training environment where the operators are able to see their productivity, the routes that they're able to do, the type of optimization we're able to do based on the information that's available every single second of the minute.
And so what I think was really important with that, folks, is when you're talking about mining, there is the face of the mine as such, then you've got the haul routes, then you've got all the ancillary vehicles that are around as well, and they've all got a role to play. And I think what's really important when you look at the use of energy is if you are able to see that there are certain things happening where the idle time is quite high, or whether the engines are running high, or whether the actual fleet is idling at certain times as well, isn't it? So there might be for example, people will take a break, and then you get a clog up because of the flow of how things have worked. How is that kind of information being utilized by the customer then?
So that's actually really good. We are able to show the routes of all the machines, both from a production machine as well as support equipment. So it seamlessly connect together, and we're able to optimize the routes and debottleneck their operations oftentimes.
And I think that debottlenecking is where everything is pulled together, and you go, right, how do we do this? And then that's a management system, and that's a communication system. And when you see that, and the impact of fuel and the idling time that has, people start to go, hey, we call it in the UK, the penny has dropped, or the dime has dropped over here, as such, to how I can change my behavior.
That's right.
Talk to me a little bit about, therefore, some of the results you've had with that customer.
So this is going to be a funny story, right? So we had a customer who we sent out our devices and we connected a whole bunch of their equipment. And then within about 6 months' time, they came back to us and said, Keven, hey, we are going to return 5 pieces of equipment back to you. And we're like, well, is there something that we did not accomplish? It was actually quite the opposite. We were able to understand the utilization of these pieces of equipment, and we no longer need this for this project because, look, we realized these were idling, these were not optimized for use, and we cut back on expenditure because of it.
Wow.
Yes.
So 5 machines literally taken off the fleet. And when they're either owned machines that could go to another project, or they're hired in machines, which actually, are a cost base to the business as well. So that makes a big difference, and environmentally, that's a huge difference as well, isn't it?
What we find is that innovation in this data insights, we're able to provide multiple slices of data presented into different personas that make different decisions. That's our key for MachineMax, is our user interface is meant to do decision making at different levels for different personas.
Right, so we talked about mining. The other thing that's big, very, very big in America is the agricultural market. It is the basket of the world in some cases, with the amount of food that is being produced and the vast scale of some of the agricultural operations. What was really insightful is you're telling me earlier about how agriculture has actually adopted this approach as well. Tell me a little bit about how you've worked with them. They're obviously different types of equipment, isn't it, as well?
So we had an agriculture customer who was very innovative when it comes to trying to understand how they're utilizing their fixed asset equipment. So these are gensets that are powering watering pumps for agriculture purposes. The challenge that they faced was the number of hours that being turned on for each one of these gensets are unknown. It's based on water levels. So with our devices, now they're able to see the number of hours that comes on based on water levels and able to do the maintenance that's necessary to make sure their field are operating optimally.
Right. Now, this is really important, folks, because we've just talked previously in mining, different type of thing. But when you've got a genset that is critical to the agricultural process and the specific growing times for the produce that's out there, if one of those goes down, you've got a huge cost, because you're going to have to get in another genset. You're going to have to hire that in whilst your old unit is actually getting maintained. If you can look at that where you've got those gaps, you can fill that with the maintenance cycles. Then you can look at the hours usage. You can actually understand how that's working. I know it's a fixed asset, and we talked about mobile assets. That makes a significant impact in the overall performance of the business.
Every single sector we work in, it's always very sensitive to resources. And people is another extremely important resource that allows for a success of, let's say, a harvest. The way that we're able to essentially minimize the PMs that are being done and the right PMs being done as they are being done, we're able to lower their resource requirements and make their business even more successful.
So, agriculture, I was thinking about big harvest machines. the actual big impact has been the gensets, like you said there. So again, we traditionally see a lot of customers in the UK using MachineMax for the construction sector. Yep. And this construction sector here, obviously, again, it uses different kinds of equipment, different scale of construction. Again, here, talk to me about some of the adoption with the systems and how that's actually helped some of the contractors that are using the construction sector.
So most recently we signed up a customer who one of their main challenges is how do they allocate their multiple different lines of machines on different projects.
Okay. Yeah,
so with our support, they're now able to do the right costing for different projects because they know exactly how many hours each one of these machines are being utilized on each project based on a live GPS system and routing system. So that's number one. Yeah. So this is amazing, right? Now they are able to associate this, and they're also able to bring in the right amount of lease equipment because they know what the utilization are for each one of the categories of machines, regardless of the OEM.
Leasing is a big issue because you're going to lease something for 3 to 5 years. That is a real cost for your business, isn't it? So if you get the wrong equipment for the applications, if you don't know and you say we need 3 or 4 of them when we actually only need 2 or 3, that has a big impact to the bottom line, doesn't it?
That's right, because that cost, whether you utilize a machine for 1 hour or 100 hours on that project, the cost is going to be the same from that standpoint. So we're able to support the operator, let them know exactly how many hours that machine is being utilized for that particular project, so they know next time when they cost a project out, should they bring one additional machine or lower the amount of expenditure that they need.
Also in construction, it's really important that you look at fleet matching. So when you can see performance of, say, the prime mover and then the trucks that are coming through, and you're getting, again, those sort of backlogs with the trucks piling up, the idle time, you've not got the right prime mover, or you've got too many trucks, haven't you? So again, that kind of information is really important to the overall flow of the job site. What's been the impact of the things that you've discovered for that customer in that sense?
I think the customer typically have a preference of the different type of equipment they will bring for a project. With our ability to support them on the productivity and utilization of that particular fleet, we're able to show them that perhaps there is a right model of equipment that they should bring in for a particular project on that different stage, and that's something that helps them make a decision on how many to bring, when to bring, what model to bring, and sometimes it's about which operator has the best performance on productivity even.
Yeah, and those operators, one of the great things about that approach is a good operator is a good mentor for new operators coming through as well, isn't it? Because, training is so important because those operators are only as good as the understanding of how to use the machines. A new machine comes into the fleet, if they're not trained effectively on that machine, you won't be able to get the best out of the modes, the eco mode, the power mode, and everything else, will you?
Yep. So in fact, we oftentimes work with Lean Six Sigma champions of companies where they're able to bring our platform up and show all the operators what's happening live on the equipment that they've been using. So that becomes a lessons learned. They can identify and training needs of how do they increase their productivity. So it's a very cool project I've seen.
So you've touched upon a few things there, saving on the amount of equipment. You've got the training there. You've got the fact that do we really need to lease these machines? The payback that people are getting from MachineMax seems to me to be quite large in those applications. What are the customers telling you, and are they actually happy with what's going on?
So I have so much to talk about this one, right?
Yeah.
When we talk to our customers, we look at how much it can save you versus how much it can increase your productivity, right?
Same thing.
Before we even get to the PM savings, before we get to the productivity increases, just the fuel saving alone would more than cover the cost of our platform in just a few days of a month.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's a
no-brainer.
The payback's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. But the knowledge that people are gaining, is that helping them just change their businesses? Because it's tough out there, in the industry to win work, and if you win the wrong work, it can cost you as a business. So how is the information also helping people judge what they should tender for and how they should deliver a project?
So there's a lot of information out there, a lot of data out there. What makes us different in one way is because we're able to seamlessly provide the data from all the various different streams into one platform, the decision that they make can be much more insightful, for instance, and that helps differentiate them from a costing perspective, from an innovation perspective. Oftentimes, they're just more efficient in their overall project because of the information they have available. And from a training perspective, this makes their operations and their operators a lot more competitive in the marketplace because they've seen this. They know what good looks like.
Yeah. And I think, one of the great examples we discussed before we're recording this is the warehouse example of the forklift truck team and how the business transformed the way in which they're operating because they've all of a sudden found out what was going on with each and every unit in there. Tell me about that, because it's really fascinating, because you never really think to put technology like this on a little sort of forklift truck, do you?
So this customer, they've always had a really good idea of how their warehouse is performing. They always talked about their productivity. They know when a downtime occurs. With our information, there's no longer ever a doubt anymore. Everything is apparent on a screen where they can look at every single operator's, how they were able to consume that data and make improvements to their routes as well as to their operations.
And I guess what's really impactful there is we talk about construction, how to set up a site. With a warehouse, if you can make these subtle changes, that is a serious business, because stuff is coming in and out so fast. If it goes bottlenecks, those elements, that layout that you thought was the right thing to do, it's fantastic, isn't it?
So one of the things that we've seen is the operators thought that they have very little idling in their operation because they're so busy, right? They operate a warehouse that's production is 24/7. But what we were able to show them that actually there is a significant amount of idling that occurred between the lifting up of each one of the pallets and while they're waiting for a production line. So we were helping them identifying when that production line actually came down because of maintenance, because of bottlenecking issues. So that is something that they did not know that was happening. Now they have that data to be able to do something different.
So it's real-time data that is really matters, because you do look back and go, well, we didn't do this week, why didn't we do that? And you can look back and go, that's fine. If you've got real-time information and it comes in a dashboard that people can see and communicate and understand, and even in a handheld device on the warehouse shop floor or in the construction environment, that's when you can make real-time decisions that impact what's happening there and then. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yep. And I would add additionally, the user interface has to be intuitive, has to be user-friendly. What we found is our customers log onto our website and use our data because it's easily understandable and consumable.
And you've said data there, I say information, because the data is captured, it's great, but what that gives those people is information and intelligence to make informed decisions about their business. And informing people that they can literally make that huge saving is a great thing to be able to do, isn't it?
And it is a differentiator for their business as well.
Yeah. So look, Keven, it's been fantastic to meet you here at Las Vegas to understand how MachineMax is actually using the technology in different environments, in different ways, than I've already heard about. There's a lot of stuff going on here at Conexpo. There's a lot of things that are happening, but there is a huge movement I'm feeling at the show towards technology, towards integration, towards a greater understanding of what's going on. It's no longer the norm to just do things as they were before, is it?
Yep. I think this innovation in technology, there's a lot of focus on how do they innovate to become more productive in the space. What we've seen is never about the lack of data or lack of information, but rather how do they make that data information useful to make decisions for different parts of the organization who has different needs, right? A maintenance department versus a finance portion of the business makes very different decisions, but they're all using the same set of data. So what we are able to do is face that challenge and provide a solution as a solution integrator to give them that data insight that they need.
And it is all about integration, folks, because if you've got a platform, that's great, but if nobody's using it, it's not going to be a benefit to any of the customers. So that's the story from the States here at Conexpo with the MachineMax and Keven. Great to understand all those different elements there, Keven, and it's a really huge market. You've got a lot of work ahead to tell the story about what's going on out there, but it really is impacting, having a positive effect on the environment and profitability, which for me gives us 2 big thumbs up. Cheers, Keven.
Thank you so much, Peter. Appreciate it.